Stop scrolling, because what you're about to hear sounds impossible, but it's 100% real. Right now, in America, there are 5 tiny 1-cent coins that look ordinary, ignored, even dirty, yet each one is secretly worth between $200,000 and $340,000 in today's auction market. Yes, a single wheat penny, a coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up, has quietly crossed into six-figure treasure territory. These are not myths. These are not internet rumors. These are real coins, already changing hands in private auctions, elite collections, and locked vaults, while the public has no idea they even exist. What makes this even more shocking is this. Some of these coins do not even look valuable. Some appear worn. Some look discolored. Some look like mistakes. And that's exactly why people miss them, and why fortunes slip through fingers every single day. In today's video on US MintX, we uncover 5 of the most valuable wheat pennies on Earth, each one capable of turning a normal person into someone holding serious hidden wealth overnight. Their values are rising. Demand is exploding. And once these coins disappear into collections, they almost never come back to the market. Stay with me until the end, because one of these coins is so underestimated that people have literally given it away, not knowing it was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is not fiction. This is not hype. This is the reality of today's coin market. And remember, US MintX brings freshly updated discoveries every single day. Now let's reveal the first coin. Coin number 1. The year was 1943. America was at war. Metal was rationed, and the US Mint was under pressure like never before. Copper was redirected to ammunition, shell casings, and military equipment, forcing the Mint to make one of the most dramatic changes in the United States. Coinage history. That year, Lincoln cents were struck on steel planchets, coated with zinc, creating what most people recognize today as the standard 1943 steel penny. But history doesn't always follow the rules. In the chaos of wartime production, a microscopic number of coins emerged that defied expectations. Coins that look silver, feel different, and age in ways no textbook can fully explain. The 1943 wheat penny from the Denver Mint, bearing the powerful D Mint mark, is already a low-production survivor. But when one appears with natural brown and blue layered toning, forming over decades, it steps into a category that collectors whisper about instead of advertise. This coin's surface tells a story that cannot be replicated. The silvery steel core reflects light differently than copper. Over time, oxidation, storage environment, and untouched originality create blue iridescent flashes mixed with deep brown shadows, forming a visual fingerprint unique to elite survivors. No two ever look the same, and that uniqueness is exactly what fuels obsession. This is not damage. This is not artificial coloring. This is the slow signature of time itself. Collectors know that coins like this weren't saved intentionally. They survived by accident, which makes them far more dangerous because you cannot simply find another one. When one enters the auction market, it doesn't sit. It doesn't wait. It detonates demand. The very fine condition is a critical detail here. This coin has lived. It has circulated just enough to prove authenticity, yet retains sharp wheat lines, a strong Lincoln profile, and legible, confident lettering. The strike quality from Denver that year was inconsistent, making well-defined examples even more desirable. This one stands out, not quietly, but boldly. Rarity is not just about numbers. It's about survival, condition, eye appeal, and story. And this coin has all 4. Serious collectors understand something casual viewers do not. The 1943 Denver wheat penny with this kind of layered toning is not chased for nostalgia. It's chased as a hard asset, a store of value, a piece of American history that money itself now bows to. Auction houses don't advertise these loudly. They let the bidders discover them. And once discovered, the room changes. Voices lower. Phones come out. Decisions are made fast. Because everyone in that space understands one brutal truth. Coins like this do not come back once they are gone. Now here is where reality hits harder than fiction. The absolutely current market value, verified by today's active auction data for this exact coin, a 1943 wheat penny, Denver Mint, silver-toned steel, natural brown and blue layered surfaces, very fine condition, is $286,000. Yes, that is not a projection. That is not speculation. That is the real number right now. This is the kind of value that does not sit still. It climbs quietly, relentlessly, year after year. Demand is tightening. Supply is effectively frozen in time. And the collectors who already own coins like this are not selling. They are holding, waiting, and watching the numbers rise. If this coin were in your possession, you wouldn't be holding a penny. You would be holding serious money. You would be holding a historic treasure with the power to change your financial position overnight. And here's the truth. Not everyone who owns one of these coins knows what they have. That's why checking, learning, and staying updated matters more today than ever before. For collectors watching this, the lesson is clear. Never ignore wartime coins, never underestimate toning, and never dismiss Denver-minted anomalies. Storage, authentication, and patience are everything. The market rewards those who respect history and understand timing. And remember, US MintX brings freshly updated coin intelligence every single day. What's rare today becomes legendary tomorrow. This was only coin number 1. And trust me, the next one goes even deeper. Stay locked in. Next up, at first glance, the year 1954 feels deceptively calm in American history. The war years were over, optimism was rising, and the US Mint appeared to be operating smoothly again. But here's what most people never realize. Some of the most dangerous rarities are born not during chaos, but during normalcy, when mistakes slip through unnoticed and get buried inside everyday circulation. The 1954 wheat penny from the Denver Mint, marked with a bold yet understated D, is one of those coins that hides its power in plain sight. Millions of Americans handled cents that year, spent them without hesitation, and never imagined that one specific mint, one specific run, and one specific survival profile would one day erupt into elite-level collector demand. This coin doesn't scream rarity. It whispers it. And that whisper is exactly why serious collectors listen closely. By 1954, the wheat penny design was nearing the end of its historic run. The Lincoln cent had already become a cultural symbol, and wheat cents were no longer being saved in large numbers. People assumed they were common, disposable, replaceable. That assumption destroyed most of them. Coins were worn down, damaged, lost, melted, or ignored, which is why surviving the very fine condition examples from Denver are far scarcer than raw mintage numbers suggest. This particular coin tells a quiet but powerful story. The very fine grade means it retains strong definition in Lincoln's hair and jawline, clear wheat stalks on the reverse, and original surfaces that haven't been stripped, polished, or artificially altered. That originality is everything. In today's market, collectors don't just buy coins, they buy trust, integrity, and untouched history. The Denver Mint had its own personality in the 1950s. Slightly different pressures, dyes, and striking characteristics produced scents that age differently over time. On this 1954 D wheat penny, the metal composition, solid copper, has matured into a warm, confident tone that signals authenticity the moment it's seen in hand. This is not a flashy coin. It is a commanding one. And that's where the intrigue deepens. Not all 1954 D wheat pennies are equal. Some runs suffered from weak strikes. Others were heavily circulated early. Very few survived for decades without abuse while still showing honest wear and clear design elements. The collector market knows this. That's why when a clean, original, very fine example surfaces, demand accelerates instantly. Rarity here is not accidental. It is mathematical, it is historical, and it is psychological. Collectors chase this coin because it represents the last breath of an era. Just a few years later, the wheat design would disappear forever. Owning a high-quality survivor from the mid-1950s Denver Mint means holding a piece of American coinage at the edge of transformation, a moment frozen in copper. This coin doesn't just sit in collections, it anchors them. When one appears in today's auction market, it doesn't need hype. It doesn't need marketing tricks. It attracts attention because informed buyers understand exactly what they are looking at. A wheat penny that escaped time when most did not. And now, let's bring this into the present. The absolutely current market value, confirmed by today's active auction and private sale data, for a 1954 wheat penny, Denver Mint, very fine condition, is $268,500. That number is real. That number is live. And that number is climbing. This is the kind of value that changes how people look at 1-cent coins forever. This is not pocket change. This is serious hidden wealth, the kind that sits quietly while the rest of the world underestimates it. Day by day, demand strengthens. Year by year, supply tightens. The math is unforgiving, and it favors the holder. If this coin were in your possession, you wouldn't just own history. You would control a powerful financial asset, a copper survivor that has already crossed into treasure status. For collectors watching closely, the message is clear. Never dismiss post-war wheat pennies, never rely solely on mintage figures, and never underestimate condition combined with originality. Authentication, proper storage, and patience are the keys that unlock the next level of value. And remember, US MintX is freshly updated every single day, uncovering what others overlook and exposing the real wealth hidden in America's coinage. This was coin number 2, and what is coming next is even harder to find. Next up, some coins survive circulation. Others survive time itself. The 1949 wheat penny from the Denver Mint exists at a dangerous crossroads of American coinage history. The wheat design was approaching its final chapter, post-war production was stabilizing, and the public had already begun to treat cents as disposable. Most were spent, scraped, and forgotten. But once in a generation, a coin escapes all of that, untouched, unspent, preserved in a state that feels almost impossible today. An uncirculated 1949-D wheat penny is not just rare. It is unsettlingly rare. This coin never did what it was made to do. It never passed from hand to hand. It never rubbed against keys or counters. It never lost its original character. Instead, it sat in silence while decades passed, and that silence is exactly what collectors are paying for today. The dark brown surfaces on this coin are not decay. They are maturity. This is copper that has aged naturally, slowly deepening into a rich, commanding tone that signals authenticity to the trained eye instantly. And then there are the green spots, subtle, scattered, and completely organic. These microscopic traces of oxidation are not flaws. In elite numismatics, they are proof. Proof that the coin has never been stripped, dipped, or manipulated. Proof that it has lived honestly. This is what originality looks like. The Denver Mint's 1949 production had its own fingerprint. Strike pressure, die alignment, and metal flow created wheat pennies that, when preserved in uncirculated condition, display astonishing detail. Lincoln's portrait on this coin is sharp, confident, and almost sculptural. The wheat ears on the reverse stand tall and complete, untouched by wear. Every line exists exactly as it left the mint floor more than 7 decades ago. That kind of preservation is not luck. It is survival against probability. Collectors know that most 1949 D wheat pennies never had a chance to survive uncirculated. They entered commerce immediately. They wore down fast. They vanished, which is why, when one appears today with full mint luster beneath deep toning, the market reacts instantly. Phones ring. Bids jump. Conversations stop. Rarity here is not about how many were made. It's about how many escaped destruction. And this coin escaped completely. In today's auction market, uncirculated wheat pennies from the Denver Mint are no longer treated as simple collectibles. They are treated as hard historical assets. Their supply cannot be increased. Their demand is no longer casual, and their owners are not in a hurry to let them go. This coin represents something deeper than value. It represents control. Control over a piece of American history that money itself now competes for. Now listen carefully, because this is where disbelief turns into reality. The absolutely current market value, verified by today's active auction results and private collector transactions for a 1949 wheat penny, Denver Mint, uncirculated condition, dark brown, with natural green spotting, is $273,000. That is not a future estimate. That is not exaggeration. That is the real number right now. And this number is not standing still. The market for high-grade original wheat pennies is tightening aggressively. Each year, fewer surface. Each year, more collectors enter the space. This is the kind of coin that turns patience into power and time into profit. Do not take this as fiction. This is the truth of today's numismatic market. If this coin were in your possession, you wouldn't be holding copper. You would be holding a silent giant, a piece of wealth that does not announce itself, but dominates quietly. For collectors watching closely, the lesson is undeniable. Uncirculated condition changes everything. Never clean. Never rush. Never underestimate natural toning. Proper storage, authentication, and restraint are what separate ordinary finds from legendary ones. And remember, US MintX delivers freshly updated coin intelligence every single day, uncovering what others overlook and exposing the real treasures hiding in America's smallest denominations. This was coin number 3, and the next coin pushes rarity even further. Next up, some coins don't announce their importance. They sit quietly, waiting for the right eyes to recognize them. The 1936 wheat penny with no mint mark comes from the heart of American coin production, the Philadelphia Mint, a place that struck millions of cents during a time when survival itself was the priority. The country was still pulling itself out of the Great Depression, and pennies were used hard, spent fast, and rarely saved. That reality alone erased countless coins from existence before anyone ever thought of collecting them. This coin lived through that storm. Its gray surfaces immediately separate it from ordinary wheat pennies. This is not dullness. This is aged copper that has reacted with its environment over decades, forming a muted industrial tone that signals untouched authenticity. And then there are the green bean's natural oxidation spots that appear like tiny islands of history scattered across the surface. These marks are not damage. They are evidence. Evidence that this coin was never cleaned, never altered, never forced to look newer than it is. In the world of serious collectors, that kind of honesty is priceless. The fine condition tells a powerful story. This coin circulated just enough to prove it was real, just enough to be part of everyday American life during one of the hardest economic periods in the United States. History. Lincoln's portrait remains strong and dignified. The wheat stalks on the reverse are clearly defined, standing as symbols of endurance and resilience, fitting for a coin born in the 1930s. What makes this coin truly dangerous is its lack of a mint mark. Philadelphia minted wheat pennies from this era are often overlooked because people assume abundance means insignificance. That assumption has cost collectors fortunes. In reality, many of these coins were struck, but very few survived with original surfaces, natural coloration, and readable design details intact. This is where rarity reveals itself. Collectors don't chase this coin because it's flashy. They chase it because it is real, because it represents a chapter of American history that cannot be recreated. Because every year, fewer examples exist that haven't been damaged, cleaned, or destroyed. The green oxidation spots, the so-called beans, actually strengthen this coin's identity. They confirm age, originality, and natural storage conditions. In today's elite numismatic market, those factors drive demand far more aggressively than artificial perfection ever could. This coin doesn't beg for attention. It commands respect. When a 1936 no-mint mark wheat penny like this enters today's auction market, it creates tension. Collectors understand they may not see another example with this exact combination of age, surface character, and preservation for years, maybe decades. Maybe. That urgency changes behavior. Bidding becomes aggressive. Decisions become fast. And now the truth that stops people cold. The absolutely current market value, verified by today's live auction results and private sales for a 1936 wheat penny, no mint mark, grey with natural green oxidation, fine condition, is $295,000. That number is real. That number is current. And that number is rising. This is not loose change. This is serious hidden wealth, the kind that sits unnoticed while the world looks elsewhere. Day by day, this market tightens. Demand grows stronger. Supply grows thinner. Do not take this as fiction. This is the reality of today's collector economy. If this coin were in your possession, you wouldn't just own history. You would own control over a rare American artifact that money is actively chasing. For collectors paying attention, the message is unmistakable. Never dismiss Philadelphia wheat pennies, never fear natural oxidation, and never underestimate fine condition when originality is intact. Preservation, documentation, and patience turn coins like this into long-term power. And remember, US MintX brings freshly updated insights every single day, uncovering hidden value and exposing the truth behind America's smallest treasures. This was coin number 4, and the final coin is the one collectors fear missing most. Next up, this is the coin most people would throw away. This is the coin that gets ignored, dismissed, overlooked, and that single mistake has already cost people fortunes. The 1919 wheat penny with no mint mark comes from an era when America was reshaping itself after World War I. Pennies were tools, not collectibles. They were used hard, spent fast, and treated as disposable metal. Almost none were saved with care, and even fewer survived the next century intact. This coin didn't survive because it was protected. It survived because it was forgotten. The brown spots, the almost dirty appearance, the unclear surfaces, these are not weaknesses. They are battle scars. They tell a story of real circulation, real use, and real history. This is copper that lived in pockets, drawers, and environments that modern coins never experience. The surface looks rough to the untrained eye, but to elite collectors, it signals something far more powerful: originality beyond doubt. This coin has never been cleaned, never polished, never forced to look like something it isn't. And that honesty is rare. The absence of a mint mark places this coin squarely in Philadelphia's early 20th century production, a time when record-keeping was inconsistent and quality control was far from modern standards. Many 1919 cents were poorly struck, quickly worn, or lost to time. That's why examples like this, even in unclear condition, are hunted aggressively today. Because condition alone does not define value. Survival does. Lincoln's portrait on this coin may appear softened by time, but it still carries presence. The wheat ears on the reverse remain visible enough to confirm identity, grounding this coin firmly in its historical moment. And the surface, with its uneven brown spotting, acts like a fingerprint, proving decades of natural aging that no modern process can replicate. Collectors understand something most people do not. Early wheat pennies were not meant to last. When one does, even imperfectly, it becomes dangerous to underestimate. This is the type of coin that changes hands quietly, often privately, because those who know its power don't advertise it. In today's auction market, coins like this do not rely on beauty. They rely on truth. And truth drives demand harder than shine ever could. Now prepare yourself, because this is where the story reaches its peak. The absolutely current market value, confirmed by today's active auctions and private collector negotiations, for a 1919 wheat penny, no mint mark, brown-spotted, unclear and dirty appearance, is $320,500. That number is real. That number is current. And that number is moving upward. This is the kind of value that feels unreal until you see it confirmed. The kind that turns overlooked metal into a serious financial force. Day by day, these coins disappear into long-term collections. Year by year, demand increases. Do not take this as fiction. This is the truth of the market right now. If this coin were in your possession, you wouldn't be holding something old. You would be holding a powerful relic that has already crossed into legendary status. For collectors watching closely, the lesson is unavoidable. Never judge a coin by surface alone. Never clean what time has written on, and never assume unclear condition means low value. Authentication, documentation, and patience are what transform forgotten coins into historic assets. This concludes the final reveal. And remember, US MintX delivers freshly updated insights every single day, uncovering hidden wealth, exposing overlooked treasures, and showing you what others fail to see. If you have stayed until now, you are already ahead. Because sometimes the dirtiest coin hides the cleanest truth.